You are listening to This Week in Clown World with Ben and Hobbs, so sit back, relax, take your black pill, and enjoy the show.
Well, good evening, fellow domestic terrorists and other harmful extremists. It is once again time for another week of This Week in Clown World special guest edition. Yes, that is right.
And he had an issue. He dropped. I'm hoping he comes back.
Oh, geez, way to start the show.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
So we'll warm it up for him, though. We'll show you what we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
For anybody who hasn't seen this, go ahead.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Do they know what the Gadsden flag is? That it's a historical flag?
So they're, the reason that they do not want the flag, the reason we do not want the flag displayed is due to its origins with
The Revolutionary
slavery and slavery. That is what was, that's the reasoning behind why we do not want this displayed.
The Gadsden flag,
The don't tread on me.
which is the Gadsden flag. Okay, so he's, what's gonna happen if he doesn't take it off?
He is able to go. I was actually just telling him, like, I was upset that he was missing so much school. I'm like, so I asked if can he just take his stuff out of his bag and go back to class. Like, I just want him to go back to class. The bag can't go back. It's got a patch on it because you can't have that in and around other kids. So that's what I was trying to, and then he said you were close. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with slavery. That's like the Revolutionary War patch that was displayed when they were fighting the British. Like, that's the revolution.
I mean, I want to dive in a little bit how they could possibly think that it has to do with slavery. Do you know much of the history behind the Gadsden flag?
Yeah, I do. So the Gadsden flag was created by Christopher Gadsden during the Revolutionary War, when it was decided that we needed a navy. The Continental Congress, under orders from George Washington, authorized the creation of the Continental Navy, at which point they then authorized the spinning up of, I believe it was 3 battalions of Continental Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And amongst those Continental Marines, their drum corps carried yellow drums with the rattlesnake and the phrase, "Don't tread on me." The phrase and the rattlesnake itself are deeply important American symbols because the rattlesnake is an American animal. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the world that I know of. And the phrase "don't tread on me" is particularly appropriate for the rattlesnake because the rattlesnake does not want to bite you. It doesn't hunt you down. It doesn't stealthily attack you in the middle of the night.
A timber rattlesnake, too, an American original.
Yep, exactly. It sits there, it minds its own business, and if you get close to it, it rattles its tail. Hey, don't step on me, and I won't bother you. The phrase and the symbology of the rattlesnake and "don't tread on me" is the 18th century equivalent of "fuck around and find out."
Yeah. And I don't know that, I mean, there could be some possible 7 degrees of separation that this teacher could have done to link it to slavery, but I don't think she's that smart after listening to her talk for a bit. I mean, Gadsden did live in the South. He did own a wharf where slave trade went through it, but it's not like he designed this flag to stand for slavery. Cole's back. Let me pop him in here.
All right.
Cole,
Okay.
good to see you.
Hey, sorry about all that.
We were just talking about the video a little bit. We dived into the Gadsden flag history, how this teacher might possibly link it to slavery, but we don't think she's that smart to know that much of the history about the person that designed it, nor the admiral that had it on his ship.
Well, the bottom line is that anything from that time period is apparently.
Yeah.
So let's just throw the whole Constitution out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that seems to be the sort of revisionist history that underpins this entire worldview that people like this seems to have. People back then owned slaves, ergo, anything associated with them comes from a place of slavery and oppression, and therefore it needs to not only be not seen in a positive light, it needs to be completely erased from history.
I think it's insane that you can't separate the virtue from the vice, but you know, it's like if you have a really good salesman, but he's an alcoholic, so every time he sells a car, you yell at him for drinking. It just doesn't, it's just not, it's not logical, but it's where we're at as a society for some reason.
Yeah.
I think the situation with Jaden, honestly, is almost kind of a trigger point for maybe more people to realize they don't have to just sit down and listen to it. I've seen a lot of comments on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube where it's like, well, the district policy in my school would never allow you to say this or do this. And I'm like, maybe you have a problem there that you should address, because you can't address it. These people don't take the actual law into account. They make a policy. They count on no one ever questioning it. They may even think it's legal. I mean, honestly, they might. But, I take a real issue with the people who should know better more than anyone else.
Well, and I live across the border from you in Nebraska, and I wasn't surprised when I learned where you guys are from that this happened. I mean, we deal with enough Coloradans up here that we kind of have built an impression of what it's like down in Colorado.
I went to law school in Oregon, right? And Oregon to me is far left of Colorado even. But they have such clear state level free speech protections embedded in the state constitution, which the whole state constitution is up for vote every year basically in Oregon, so that could change. But this would never happen there, even in a much more liberal place. So I think Colorado Springs is kind of the perfect place for this problem to emerge, because you have a lot of conservatives here, but they're very rule followery. They're mostly military or associated with the military. I'm a veteran. We all teach our kids, do what you're told, basically, is within reason. It just so happens that maybe some people don't realize their kids are being told to do things that are illegal.
So before we get any further into this, due to our beginning technical issues that we had, we didn't get to properly introduce precisely who you guys are and why we're talking to you. So we're, of course, Cole Presnell and J-Rod himself over there. Jaden, sir, I want to talk to you right now. How you been, man? You have had probably a busier week than a kid your age ever should have to deal with. Your dad there sent me the interview you did with Ben Shapiro, which I think you did a phenomenal job on. So congratulations on that. Who else have you seen this week?
A lot. I don't even know everybody. His mom's been handling all the press. It's the first time that we've sat down together at all. You did what? Benny on the Block?
Benny on the Block, Ben Shapiro, Charles.
Can't hear you.
Jesus.
Well,
okay.
Their laptop seems to be having an issue, but we're going to roll with it.
Right. Well, suffice to say, he's been doing quite a few interviews this week.
Go ahead and finish. I think he got 2 out of the way before the.
Yeah.
I'm on really good internet. I don't know what the deal is.
They don't want us to talk. That's the problem.
So Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro, Benny on the Block, 4P for Liberty. Sorry, I don't know.
He was
the
on
Charlie Kirk show.
Charlie Kirk and Newsmax.
Newsmax too.
Bottom line is his mom has pretty much let him talk to everybody that wants to within reason. Which I think is a good thing because he's handling it well and he does a good job expressing his feelings. I'm always trepidatious about the media, the big media, especially getting involved, in people's lives. But he's handled it really well. And the kids at school have had a great response on the whole too. So that's been really cool. Can you tell them about that a little bit?
Yeah, they put a "Don't Tread on Me." They printed out papers of "Don't Tread on Me." But the school, because they taped it to their lockers, they took down every single one. All the kids were like, "No, that's not cool," and like they were complaining. And
So we got to
I'm
look and
upset.
see if they have a policy about signs being on the lockers. They
Well,
just understand that there are lines and that they are able to cross them. They really don't, you know.
yeah, this seems to be a good reversal. You know, normally it's the other way around, where the people who are trying to enact these sorts of policies are using that old adage of the process is the punishment, and
Right.
it's good to see that it's kind of getting the old Uno reverse card thrown in their
So
face.
they tried that. You know, this has been going on in the media for a week, but it's been going on in our lives since school started. So, you know, it was one administrator, one teacher after another, all saying, you know, stop this, stop that, and we just try to comply with a lot of it just to be polite. Didn't want trouble, you know, didn't want to disrupt his learning experience. But it got to the point where Jaden was like, I don't want to just keep giving up, right? So,
Mhm.
I mean, I overheard him and his mom having that conversation, and from there is where we're at now. But you know, it really frustrates me, the so-called activities director of the school, which is a fake job title if I've ever heard one. But he's a veteran,
Director
and
of operations.
he sat down, director of operations.
Yeah.
He sat down with each, said, "No, this is legal," and I've talked to the district lawyer, and this is what we're doing. And then I said, "Hey, I want to see what your lawyer sent you." I actually yelled at him because he told me he was a veteran, and I'm sorry, but veterans should know better. I'll never yell
Yeah.
at a million, right? But I'll yell at a veteran any day of the week. I yell at a veteran just because it makes us feel good. But
Did you did you give him the knife hand?
Stop.
honestly, it was on FaceTime.
Oh,
But you know, it's coming from the top end of the school, which is coming from the district. It's a charter school. They don't even have to follow district rules. So I think that the administrators are going to get held personally responsible for a lot of these damages in court once all comes out to wash. And I really hope that the school district goes after their attorney for a bar complaint for malpractice for not looking up law that's existed since 1969, if they even talked to the attorney, which I don't think they did. But the links and stuff that he sent Eden as for the justification of this policy, it was literally opinion articles from what, like, it was newspapers basically, Washington Post, New York Times.
oh God, he pulled the
there was
he pulled the old source.
no actual law whatsoever, none, no actual law whatsoever. And this whole thing's been made out to be about the Gadsden flag, but it's really about freedom of speech. It doesn't matter what your kid has on his backpack as long as it's not actually a threat or obscene. I mean, that's how it is, right? So making it about the Gadsden flag is almost a distraction. It really almost is.
What was your opinion of? Oh, darn it!
This is going to get really annoying. We haven't had issues like this in a long time, and
It's
this is
gotta
the
be
one that
his internet keeps dropping him out. Is what I'm seeing on our end. His internet lags out. See, I'm trying to add him back in, but his internet isn't good enough to get him in here.
this is the first time that we've had this issue in a long time, and this is the one that I pumped out on social media. I put it in comment sections. I called into InfoWars this morning and told Harrison about it, and he said he'd be watching tonight. So Harrison, if you're watching, I'm sorry. This normally doesn't happen. I know that sounds kind of.
There he is.
There he
I don't
is.
know. That's pretty. It just shows his connection going to shit.
Turned off the.
This is so weird.
Yeah, and he lives. It's not like he lives out in the sticks where he has no internet either. Like, I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat and say it's them.
That is bizarre.
Anyways, while we wait for the snafu to resolve itself, so he was getting into how making this about the Gadsden flag is a bit of a distraction.
I'm throwing him in here again. This is just the weirdest shit.
anyways, you were talking about how it's a distraction that they're making it about the flag and not about the freedom of speech issue. So, pick
Right,
up
and
where you left off.
it really shouldn't matter what's on your kid's backpack as long as it's not obscene in the technical sense or actually making a threat, right? Something that makes you feel threatened is not the same as an actual threat. So people really got to wrap their heads around that the feelings come from the inside, you know. And I think that a lot of people in the free speech debate have never really thought about it that way yet, and they will. Also interesting, I mean, I'm an attorney. I have a lot of very liberal friends, and they have all absolutely been supportive of Jaden, which is phenomenal. So it's not a left-right issue; it's an authoritarianism issue, and the good people on the left understand that.
I was impressed with Polis's response right away. Even what did you think of that?
I was absolutely blown away. Polis, I think, knows that Colorado is at its heart a purple state, and he also knows that he has a strong military vote here. So, I'm not going to say he was purely motivated by that because it seemed like a really genuine, very quickly typed response. It didn't go into a lot of details. It was very to the point. But I think Polis may not have gotten to the position he's in if he wasn't aware of those factors.
So what is a move going forward here? You said it's a charter school, so I don't know what state statutes are in Colorado for schooling. Is there a board, an elected board of parents that controls this?
So yeah, there's the school board, which includes membership from the district and some parents. Of course, the schools are really run though through kind of the state appointed staff at this point. I'm not seeing elected officials. I haven't talked to an elected official. I haven't had any of them reach out to me. And I'm sure Jaden and Eden have not either. I think she would have told me that. Is that, we really wanted to resolve this nicely. I didn't want to be nice about it, but I wanted to get resolved without having to go to the media, without having to, get lawyers involved. But it became clear immediately that they couldn't get their foot out of their mouth long enough to let that happen. So Here we are. Far away.
Oh, I was gonna say. So you said that this has only been in the media since the beginning of this week, but this has been something that you guys have been putting up with for the entire school year. When you started school this year, did you anticipate something like this was going to happen, or was this just like my kid wants to put this cool symbol of American Revolutionary War history?
So the Gadsden patch went onto his backpack as a concession for removing other patches that he had on there. Right. So they had a big problem all of a sudden with the Ghost Gunner patch that he had. We took them off and put the Gadsden black patch on, and then the black patch was the one that got him pulled out of class, and this conversation started. So, since the beginning of school, they had an issue with the Firearms Policy Coalition patch, with the Ghost Gunner patch. Literally the Pac-Man ghost holding cartoon guns. Least threatening thing you'll ever see in life. And, kids and teachers last year and the year before at this school would compliment him on it. They liked it. They thought it was fun. He had like a motif with the ATF guy watching the ghost guns. It was funny and been a thing for 2 years now. But this year they got a lot of new teachers into the school. I really think the district is making an effort to sabotage what was a really fantastic classical education school with these teachers and administrators. I feel like it's purposeful. I really do.
Well, we've talked about this on the show. There's a complete capture of systems by the progressive left by requiring people to go through colleges to get into these positions. Because you get 4 years of brainwashing at these colleges, and then you're just pumping them out across the nation. Oh my gosh.
I knew we were going to lose him when his audio started dicking up. I knew it. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We might have to do this again some other week just because.
Well, I'm glad I don't know. It's so weird that his connection is screwing up when he's talking about this stuff, but
tinfoil.
Yeah. We didn't get shut down on Facebook yet, surprisingly.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, right. Let me throw him in here again. Yeah, because you're right. You can see his audio and video start to glitch out, and then he's gone. Welcome back.
Again.
I have done a lot of podcasts from this Wi-Fi. I've never had this issue before, so very interesting. But anyway, it's really frustrating. So if you guys have some quick questions for Jaden, I think we may need to call it a night in about the next 5 minutes, or we get cut off
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. So Jade, why don't you just give us a real quick timeline of what happened that day? You know, kind of the day that everything kind of exploded. What was that, Monday?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I went into school. It was regular until second period math. My math teacher got a call, and I went up to the front office, and they're like, "Your Gadsden patch, you need to take it off." And I was very confused. Like, what?
So to be clear, the class was normal.
Yes.
It was not disrupted.
Not disruptive.
Yeah. So okay. So this speaks to sort of a larger problem that I see with when a lot of these sorts of things happen, where you have this adult child, basically a child in an adult's body, who is having their fifis hurt, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's like, oh, you're causing a disruption. It's like, no, you're causing a disruption because you decided to become a hysterical infant over it. Everything was cool until you decided to have your freak out.
I actually feel a little bad for the lady in the video because Dwight Yoakam made her enforce this policy, right? Not Jeff Yoakam.
I was like, Dwight Yoakam, how's he work into this? That's right.
Yeah, Jeff made her enforce this policy, so she got put on the spot. But just like Jeff, she was unwilling to back down on it. So, you know, in the end, what happened, and she said the words that came out of her mouth, right, that she's being held responsible for. Just like the entire internet will lampoon me for getting the name wrong.
I think that the internet will give you a pass because it is late at night and you've had a rough day and you've had a rough week. So I'm going to give you a pass, and as ruler of the internet for tonight, because I say so, that is my decree.
Well, I want to say, it sounds bad to say it, but I'm glad it happened to you being a lawyer. You know, if it happened to some other parent who had it on their kid's backpack and didn't know how they could fight it, and they took it off, and what's that teach their kid, and what does it teach everybody across the country? So it's great that it happened to you and you're going to fight it, and they picked on the wrong guy to screw with, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's also great. It's also great that it happened to you because I happen to know you from before, so we could have you on this the most important podcast on the internet that just doesn't want to work for some reason.
Happened to Jaden, and you know, he's handling it great. It's one of those things where he's done the right stuff, and you know, learned this stuff from his mom before he even knew me. You know, so he's done a great job.
Yeah, good job, Jaden.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're absolutely killing it out there, young man, and I know probably doesn't mean a damn thing coming from some guy that you've just met right now, but I'm proud of you, and I know that a lot of people out there are proud of you too.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that I got to wear the patch.
There you go.
Should we cut them loose, Hobbs, before they get cut out again? We'll hit the rest of the clown world happenings.
Yeah, we might as well. I'm sorry that internet hasn't.
Let's get together in about 3 or 4 weeks and have an update.
Sounds good.
That'd be great.
Right,
Thank you
later.
very much.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in, guys.
Bye-bye.
Well, it was great that it worked out enough that we could talk to him for a while at least.
Yeah.
I was worried his internet was going to crap out completely. But yeah, great story. Great family, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're raising your kid to wear the Gadsden patch, you know the history on it, and actually not getting tread on when they try to tread on him.
Just the rich irony of
trying to tread on a "don't tread on me" patch. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. Just Lord works in mysterious ways sometimes.
It'll be great to talk to him in 4 weeks when he probably will have a lot more money at that point. Or no, the lawsuit probably won't happen at that quick, but I see a payout in that man's future if he wishes to pursue one.
I was joking with him. I said maybe you'll make enough money to put a nest egg away for college and get him his dream gun just to really rub it in.
Right. With a Gadsden flag engraved on the on the receiver.
There you go. Yeah, something similar happened to me when I was in high school. Obviously this was about 23, 24 years ago, before the internet was the thing that we know it right now. And of course, when I was freshman, sophomore in high school, that was just a year or two after Columbine happened, right?
Mhm.
And I went in to school. I had a little, like, a bullet on a chain necklace, and they confiscated that from me. So I had two little lapel pins from getting 25 out of 25 at trap shooting, and I
Mhm.
wore those on my coat. And they told me that I couldn't have those on my coat anymore. And
Hmm.
I jokingly said, "Would you like the tiny shotgun that they go into?" And that almost got me suspended.
The good old post Columbine world, huh?
Exactly. So then I decided to be passive aggressive about it. I had 3 or 4 T-shirts that were Beretta, Winchester, Remington, and I just wore those in a cycle every single day for the entire school year. Just rotated them out, and they knew, but they couldn't say anything
Along
because
with
it
your
was.
black trench coat.
I didn't have a black trench coat, but I did have a mid-length brown coat, and I wore that until it basically fell apart too, because it wasn't long enough to be a trench coat, but it
I
got the
mean,
point
they're so
across.
scared now. I'm sure if that happened nowadays, immediate suspension, they would probably try.
Probably, but I went to high school with a class of like 27 people, where everybody knew everybody, and the school administrators knew that I wasn't a threat to anybody, because obviously not.
Mhm.
And I think that they were just wishing that they were the administration for a much larger school, and probably some deep-seated bitterness in their own hearts that they were just this podunk Nebraska town school administrator, rather than, like, oh, being in LA or Omaha or whatever they wanted to do.
Right. Yeah. I don't have any stories like that. I went to a school where my graduating class was 740. So I probably could have carried a pistol in a holster and nobody even noticed. There's so many people. But, moving on to the Clown World actions for the week. I saw they had some more January 6 people. They set a new record, or second highest sentence yet, 16 years to the former Proud Boy guy.
Enrique Tario.
Yep.
Yeah.
He used to go on InfoWars too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was a former regular guest, because of the Proud Boys connections. They talked to them a little bit. Um, they kind of stopped when it came to light that he was a former federal employee, or a federal informant, which makes his recent conviction a little more likely and strange.
So what's the tinfoil hat on that one? That he's not actually going, or that he's been thrown under the bus?
I'm going to go with the bus. I don't think that this administration, and especially this Justice Department, is in the favor giving mood anymore. Like,
Hmm.
setting aside any preferable treatment for any of its former assets, I think they are in the full burn it down phase of the collapsing republic.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. Uh, I would be surprised if they don't. I don't know. Do you think if GOP gets in there, do you think they'll start pardoning?
Uh, yeah, I think that Donald Trump right now is vengeful to the point where pardons are going to be coming fast and hard for whoever makes the left squeal the most, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
if it's going to make the MSNBC class pull their hair out and screech into the ether, then Trump is going to whip that pardon out faster than you can spit.
yeah. There's
And
some people talking that I don't know, a preemptive pardon could have happened, but I don't know how that would even work. How do you pardon somebody before they're convicted? they were bitching that Trump didn't do that before he got out of office.
Well, he did pardon a few people right before he left office. He gave Roger Stone clemency right before he left office, and did a couple of other ones. He pushed for some prison reform on behalf of some rappers or whatever, thinking that would endear him to the black vote or something, for all the good that it did. I think that him having a mugshot out there in person has done more to endear him to the hood vote than
Did you see the people lined up when he went through Atlanta that they were shouting "Free Trump"?
Yep, there's entire TikTok collaborations or montages or whatever TikTok things are called, where they've just got people like, yeah, I'm fucking with Trump now because all he wanted us to do was get off our ass and make that money.
Yeah, I think the Democrats are going to be surprised at the amount of black vote that they've lost under Biden.
Yeah.
Especially after the shit they pulled where, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And the condition of black communities under 4 years of Biden. I don't know why it's taken them this long to wake up to it. You'd think anybody that saw that quote of Lyndon B. Johnson would would understand what the Democrat Party has been up to for decades.
Yeah. It's basically a modern day plantation with velvet shackles.
Yep. And they're waking up to it. I mean, they see how much better off they were under Trump. And I don't understand how Biden locked in so much of the black vote last election. It could have just been the whole fake vote thing. It seemed bizarre to me how
the
much
secret
black
ingredient is crime.
But I mean, we'll see. We got a debate coming up again too, and I think is Trump skipping that one again?
I believe that he has resigned himself to not attend any of the debates.
I agree with him. I mean, at first I didn't. I was kind of, he should go to, but there's no reason. There's no reason to go.
No.
Yeah, and we'll see how Vivek does. He's been dropping some hot takes lately, so he's kind of taking the Trump route to get in the media, because the stuff he's saying, the left wing media loves playing it, thinking it's doing him harm.
Yeah,
but they're making the same mistake again.
Yeah, you're not making him look bad. This is not the dig that you think it is.
Right? Called Atlanta Presley a KKK grandmaster. That was based.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see one of the squad members, not AOC, but the other one that's that married her brother? I'm blanking on the name right now. Ilhan Omar.
Yeah,
Ilhan Omar. She tweeted out Trump's mugshot with the little fist emoji, and it said, "He really all about that thug life." And I'm like,
are you slamming him, or
did Ilhan Omar just go MAGA? This would be interesting. What's going on here?
And we talked a little bit about that mugshot, but it's worked for him.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed that it wasn't the shit-eating grin that I expected it to be, but the angry laser eyes works too, I guess.
Yeah,
because they are shitting their pants.
Yeah, they're a damage control on Biden. It seems like is there even any point about talking about Biden corruption stuff at this point? It's just every week more and more. It's like everybody knows it. I saw today Stephen A. Smith. I mean, he's a sports guy, but he came out and endorsed Gavin Newsom for president.
Oh God! Why would you do such a thing?
I saying nothing costs nothing, so I don't know why he felt like throwing that out there. But I mean, he might be the head of the pack on pushing your boy Gavin that you said is going to come in and sweep in to save the day for the Democrats.
No, I am on Team Michelle.
Oh, you're on Big Mike. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No. I think that Gavin Newsom, he comes with a ton of baggage called the entire state of California. Not only is he the governor of California, but he is the former mayor of San Francisco, which is like the rotten core of everything that's wrong with the state of California.
I don't think Gavin can get the black vote either.
No, he looks like a serial killer. He's like a greasier version of Christian Bale's Patrick Bateman, like without any of the charisma. He's oily. He's a weasel. He has presided over one of the most beautiful and well set up states in the world, spiraling out of control into a den of homelessness and drug use. You just like I'm willing to bet that there is no Google Street View of San Francisco because all you would see is fentanyl zombies hunched over in the middle of the street.
I went to enough San Francisco news stories that Google started pushing my feed, and like every week in the San Francisco news, business in San Francisco for 25 years closes doors. Business in San Francisco 13 years closes doors. And they all talk about how business is unsustainable in San Francisco right now. That city is just going to be like a fallout wasteland eventually with ghouls roaming the streets.
I think I said it 3 years ago that Trump's wall does not need to be along the Mexico-US border. It needs to be around San Francisco and around the Bay. And then after 10 or 12 years, anybody who hasn't died of overdosing or AIDS or something like that is going to be sterilized due to mandatory transgender surgery. And then once that whole population dies off, you just bulldoze the mountains of human feces, corpses, and hypodermic needles into the bay, and you've got free real estate.
Yeah. I think Abbott in Texas is even humane enough. I don't think he's sending any of the migrants there, is he? This is worse than where they came from. I'm not going to do that to these poor bastards.
No, like some of the videos and everything that I've seen of what's going on in a lot of places of San Francisco, especially I think it's the Tenderloin district.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the videos and pictures that I've seen are literally worse than Mosul, Iraq, that I used to drive through every day for a year. So take that for what it is.
Coming soon to San Francisco, IEDs.
If they're not already there.
I mean, the crime that you see there, these people are just arranging in mobs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're organized at this point and just looting the entire city.
Yeah. And there's passing more and more city ordinances that are saying that not only is it discouraged for store owners and clerks to confront potential shoplifters, they're trying to criminalize people from stopping burglars because the police aren't doing shit. If there are any police left.
I mean, if you're a broke dick with low morals, why wouldn't you schedule a road trip to California at this point and just load up on shit and then go back home? Why wouldn't you?
Exactly. And the thing that is kind of the compounding factor that makes what's going on in California so much worse than any of the other progressive left-run districts in the country is that California's weather is nice year-round. You only really have to worry about the occasional earthquake. But if you're not living in a building, that's really not anything that you have to worry about.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you saw this video. I think it was last week. It's a cop is writing some sort of ticket to a very good-looking car. It's like a BMW or something. Meanwhile, down the block, somebody's getting carjacked. And the cop writing this ticket just looks down there, continues writing the ticket. It's like, that sums it up right there. There's no money for the police force to make busting up this carjacking. So he's going to continue to write this ticket for this guy in the BMW. And
yeah,
I kind of think that sums up San Francisco right there. They're squeezing the people with money, running them out of there. And that's all they're going to have left is hordes of carjackers and looters.
Well, the chances of the guy in the BMW coming out and shooting you or running away so that you have to get into a foot pursuit or any of the other terrible things that could happen to a cop on the beat are practically non-existent. You
Mhm.
go over and you stop a guy who's getting carjacked from getting carjacked, the carjacker might turn around and shoot you or stab you or get into a fist fight with you or reach for your gun or be high on PCP and have superhuman strength or any of the other million things that could possibly go wrong. So yeah,
Right.
just keep pencil whipping out your ticket because the guy with the BMW can probably afford to pay it, probably will pay it right before he calls U-Haul and asks for a trailer.
Yeah. I mean, further cementing that, some police forces are just there to make money, not actually protect the citizens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other political news this week, Mitch McConnell suffered from another reboot. Did you see that?
I did. Another glitch in the Mitch.
I've got it here if we want to show it quick. Yeah, they cleared him. They said he's fine. Let's see the old glitch in the Mitch. Oh, he's locked up. Someone, I mean, this was a same.
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute.
Yeah, they're going to need a minute.
I have to find the little red button in the folds of his neck skin.
Yeah. I mean, what is going on with this guy? Is he having seizures?
Yeah, it's probably a seizure. I don't think he's having a stroke because he did just kind of snap out of it there at the end. I think he is just like kind of like locking up, having a seizure, and then he just kind of snaps out of it and like, okay. But it is, yeah, it's terrible.
Well, and I wonder why I think we just got glitched out on Rumble. For people watching over there, I don't see video, but maybe you can hear us. I don't know why. What benefits these White House physicians to keep clearing these guys? I mean, obviously they're bought out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. Why even have White House physicians to check people out if every time they're just going to clear them? Doesn't make any sense.
And it's happening so often now with Biden, McConnell, Dianne Feinstein. These
hers was egregious. Her family has power of attorney on her, and here she is, high-ranking official in the United States government, but her family has a power of attorney on her personal affairs.
She is 1% of the Senate. If that kind of puts things in, she alone is 1% of the Senate. Her family has power of attorney over all of her personal affairs, and she sits on several high-ranking committees because she has been in the Senate for so long. At this point, between her, McConnell, Biden, and any of the other octogenarian people that have been in politics for far too long, it's got to border on some type of illegal elder abuse.
Well, it looks like we're working on Rumble again, but my video is just glitchy. Weird issues tonight. I don't know what's going on. What else did we want to hit on for this week? We're getting up on an hour. Did we hit everything? I mean, we really wanted to talk to Cole. That was a big thing for the week because, I mean, that was all over the news cycle.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of disappointed because I didn't do a whole lot of research and prep for tonight because I was hoping that would take at least a half an hour, and anything that we needed to pad out, he could bring up something or.
I'm gonna put that up there. This is me. Yeah, he had so many technical issues. I didn't want to keep dragging that out. It was just bizarre.
Yeah, but we'll get back with him in hopefully 3 or 4 weeks and get an update. I'll keep in touch with him and see how everything's going.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I hope you enjoyed while we had Cole on through all the issues. Great story.
Sorry.
Yeah, great story. Great family figures. We push it to everybody, and his internet gets jacked up.
Story of my life.
Story of roads to liberty right there. But that's what happens when you're reporting on Clown World. So thanks again. We'll be back next week, same time. We're still working on an interview to have coming up. Maybe.
Oh yeah. So not tomorrow, but next week, next Friday on the 8th, I'm going to be talking to Arid USA, who are makers of aftermarket parts for the Steyr AUG semi-automatic rifle. I found them online, found them on Instagram, sent them a message, and they got back to me right away. We'll be talking to the social media guy, Ian, and the CEO, John, and we'll be talking to both of them next Friday. And I locked in Friday after next on the 15th is going to be Nelson McIlvaney, the head honcho over there at Sentry H2O water purifiers.
So we got those to look forward to. Join us for those. And as always, stay honky.